This is the 5th video in our series. I added a few videos from OUIACH channel. That's the Institution for American Constitutional Heritage at OU. A list of talks that hopefully will help you. I understand that some of the professors will be speaking or do speak a little fast, so you'll get used to it after a while. But I will personally try to explain everything to you myself. One of the first things, one of the most important things for you to do is to get just a good picture of what happened in the Constitutional Convention in the summer of 1787. Who was there, what their backgrounds were, and who said what. To do that, there are a few books that you can refer to. I've just got a few of them here. This is one of them. It's called The Grand Convention. It's by Clinton Rossiter. Okay, this is one of them. And this is The Ordeal of the Constitution by Rutland, Rutland. I will write the titles here where you can see it actually. This is actually the book one of the first books that I read on the Constitutional Convention. It's called Miracle at Philadelphia. Miracle at Philadelphia. And it's a pretty good book. One of the better ones, a short one that I've come across, it's called A Brilliant Solution. A Brilliant Solution by Carol Berkin. It's a pretty good book. It gives you a nice introduction to the Constitutional Convention, what happened, what the delegates were thinking. And here is another one that I was not too familiar with. It's called The Business of May Next. The Business of May Next by Miller. This is pretty good also. One of the works that I think all the scholars or anybody that works on the Constitution of the United States has to look at, and it's actually very interesting because it gives you personally, you don't have to be a historian, you don't have to be a political scientist, you don't have to be a lawyer, are these 3 volumes, okay? And they are called The Records of the Federal Convention, Farrand's Records of the Federal Convention. Let me show you. This is what the book is. It's 3 records. The Records of the Federal Convention, edited by Max Farrand, Farrand. And these 3 books tell you which one of the delegates at what day, on what day, said something. And you can actually take a look at these with a little introduction. This would be the most helpful thing for you just to see what happens when over 50 people get together to create a constitution. So these 3 volumes, they are online, they're available online. These 3 volumes, I highly recommend them to you, especially for those of you who want to take a good look at the making of the Constitution of the United States, and by extension, the idea of federalism. Because that is why we were studying this. We were studying to see how they shaped this Constitution, what their ideas were about federalism, why they ended up deciding one person to be the executive instead of a council, instead of a group of people. And everything else that's in the Constitution, you can actually almost find out why they wrote the Constitution the way they did. So take a good look at some of these books. Like I said, this is one of the newer ones, and it's a very short one. It's a good one. And remember, I told you on C-SPAN you can find a lot of good videos. I looked on YouTube. I could not find her talk about this book, Carol Berkin's talk about this book. Whereas if you look on C-SPAN's website, you can find one or two of her talks about that book, and gives you a good idea, just a general idea of what the delegates were thinking about and the writing of the Constitution. What I have done personally over this last year, I have written to some of the scholars, some of these professors whose expertise is in a certain subject matter during the founding of the United States. And I told them in an email that, hey, my name is Hushang Nur Mohammadi. I'm translating the Federalist Papers to Farsi. Would you recommend some books? And one of the books that was recommended to me, and I didn't know about it, I'd heard of the title, but I didn't know about it, I hadn't read it till last year, was this book, and it's a pretty good book. The Business of May Next. And what it is referring to is the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia that is supposed to take place starting in May of 1787. I started learning and reading about American history a little bit more seriously in 1990s. And I wanted to find out more about the United States. My interest at first was the foreign policy of the United States. Because remember, I'm originally from Iran. And that led me to reading some other things, and that led me to reading some other things. And one of the things that I came to want to study and learn were the Federalist Papers. And then to understand the Federalist Papers, or to put them in context, I decided to read about the writing of the American Constitution and the Constitutional Convention. So that was when I came across this book. One thing you have to keep in mind that after the 200th anniversary or bicentennial of the birth of the United States, like around 1977, 78, 1987, 88, 200 years after the writing of the Constitution, a lot of scholarship, a lot of good new books were written about the founding of the United States. So this book was written, The Miracle at Philadelphia, was written in 1966. It's a good book, but new scholarship, new works have come out and will give you a better insight to why and how the Constitution was written. That's why I say, again, this is one of the better books. It's easy read, a brilliant solution. Take a look at that, and there are tons of material available to you online. Make sure you take advantage of those and help you move along as far as the learning of this fantastic work, this fantastic experiment in federalism that we're going to be studying. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that, like the videos I posted from the OU IACH channel, the American Constitutional Heritage channel, there are hundreds of other videos and all of them are wonderful. So I just wanted to show you a sample. What you can do is find the website or go to the YouTube channel and look at all their videos. They'll tell you much more about the American Constitution and American history. Extremely helpful. So we will talk some more in the next session.